Shannon Sharpe, y'all know, he was about to sign $1 million contract. So now they got to get out of it.
Do they know who they hired? Yes.
Shannon Sharpe was about to sign a $100 million deal, the biggest contract of his media career. Everything was lined up, Club Shay Shay was exploding, new shows were on the table, and he was days away from locking in generational wealth. Then suddenly, it all stopped. A lawsuit hit the headlines. Serious claims from a woman in his past. The timing? Too perfect. The deal? Put on ice. Now people are asking the same question. Was Shannon set up to fail? Or did he sabotage himself? Even Deion Sanders is saying something doesn't add up. And when Deion speaks, people listen. Was this a coincidence? Or a calculated move to take him down right before he leveled up? Shannon Sharpe wasn't just building a podcast, he was building an empire. Club Shay Shay had gone from a solid show to a cultural force. The interviews were viral, the numbers were climbing, and networks were lining up to back him. Then came the big one. A massive $100 million media deal was on the table. This wasn't just about a single podcast, it was a full takeover. Multiple shows, multiple platforms, a full media network with Sharpe at the center. It was all supposed to be announced in April 2024. According to Front Office Sports, the paperwork was nearly done. Sharpe was set to walk into a new tax bracket and solidify his place as one of the most powerful voices in sports media. But just 3 days before the deal was expected to close, everything changed. A woman named Gabriella Zuniga filed a lawsuit against Sharpe, claiming he had crossed serious personal boundaries in the past. The accusations were intense, and the timing couldn't have been more devastating. In a matter of days, the contract was frozen. Backers pulled back. Discussions went quiet. The $100 million deal that was practically his vanished too sudden, too precise, too suspicious. And Deion Sanders, he wasn't buying the coincidence. Deion Sanders didn't waste time. As soon as the news broke, he stepped in with a message that shook the internet. Something don't smell right. To him, this wasn't just a scandal, it was a setup. The timing of the lawsuit, the way it lined up exactly with Shannon's $100 million deal, didn't sit right with Coach Prime, and he wasn't subtle about it either. He said it plain. If Shannon had locked in that kind of money, it would have changed the media landscape. It would have shifted power, and somebody didn't want that to happen. In one interview, Deion even joked, "I'd go to hell for $50 million, pointing to how high the stakes must have been for someone to try and ruin Shannon's shot at the top. According to Deion, this wasn't just personal, it was political. A power move disguised as a scandal. He made it clear. Someone set a trap, and Shannon walked right into it. But why now? Why wait until he was on the verge of the biggest win of his life? Because when you're climbing that high, someone always wants to pull you down. If there was a moment Shannon Sharpe's media empire truly exploded, it was his sit-down with Cat Williams. In January 2024, the interview dropped like a bomb. Cat didn't hold back. He name-dropped half of Hollywood, exposed behind-the-scenes deals, and aired out industry secrets like he had nothing to lose. That single episode shattered records. It became the most watched in Club Shay Shay history. Suddenly, Shannon wasn't just a media personality. He was the go-to guy for unfiltered, raw celebrity conversations. Everyone was watching, everyone was listening, but not everyone was happy. Whispers started almost immediately. Industry insiders claimed that some of the names mentioned weren't just annoyed, they were furious. Some even believed Shannon had crossed a line by giving Cat a platform to speak so freely. And just like that, what looked like a career milestone might have painted a giant target on his back. The timing? Still strange, because only a few months after that viral interview, everything came crashing down. Was the Cat Williams episode the spark that lit the fuse? Not everyone believes Shannon was targeted. In fact, some say he brought this entire mess on himself. While the timing of the lawsuit raised eyebrows, critics argue that no one forced Shannon to entertain risky relationships, especially when he was just days away from signing a generational deal. He was on the edge of a $100 million breakthrough, and instead of staying locked in, he let his guard down. Leaked text messages and an alleged voicemail didn't help his case. One clip reportedly captured him saying something aggressive out of anger, words that instantly went viral. Whether the situation was baited or not, the internet made up its mind fast. People weren't just questioning the allegations, they were questioning his judgment. Because even if someone was setting a trap, Shannon handed them the blueprint. He gave access to someone who could easily flip his entire public image upside down, and let's be real, this isn't his first rodeo. Shannon's been famous for decades. He knows how fast the internet turns, how scandal spreads, and how one wrong move can cost everything. So when the storm hit, people weren't surprised. They were disappointed. When things fall apart, you find out fast who's really in your corner. And according to Shannon, some of the people closest to him didn't step up. They stayed quiet, or worse, they smiled behind his back. He's publicly said, there are folks in his circle who seem to be enjoying his downfall. That's not just painful, it's revealing. Because when a man is at his lowest, silence from his own people can feel louder than the headlines. Even Stephen A. Smith, who once clashed with Shannon over ESPN, started to change his tune. He admitted that people have been coming after Shannon ever since that explosive Cat Williams interview. That's a major shift from criticism to concern. Then came Gene Deal, the former bodyguard of another high-profile name, who also questioned the timing of the lawsuit. He said flat out, "It's no accident this hit right as Shannon was about to level up." The closer Shannon got to real power, the more resistance he faced. But while a few voices came to his defense, the rest, silent, absent, watching from a distance. And sometimes that silence says more than words ever could. If Shannon Sharpe thought the media storm was intense, the internet made it worse. The backlash online has been relentless. Social media lit up with opinions, hot takes, and harsh judgments. And a lot of it wasn't coming from trolls. It was coming from longtime fans. People who once looked up to Shannon are now questioning everything. The comments haven't been kind. Some users say he's too seasoned to be caught in drama like this. Others say he should have known better than to let his guard down, especially while negotiating one of the biggest deals of his life. One post flat out said, Shannon needs to sit down somewhere. He's too old for this kind of mess. Then came the deeper criticisms. Fans started questioning his inner circle. Where are his real friends? They asked. His brother, Sterling. Deion. People wondered why no one pulled him aside and told him to steer clear of risky entanglements. If the lawsuit really was part of a larger takedown, why didn't someone in his circle spot the red flags before it was too late? And let's not ignore the most aggressive reactions. Some accused both Shannon and Deion of having a history of poor judgment when it comes to women. One viral post accused them of being part of a broader problem, lumping them into a stereotype that only fueled more debate. But whether fair or not, perception spreads fast, and the damage spreads even faster. Shannon didn't just lose a deal, he lost the benefit of the doubt. In a digital world where headlines hit harder than facts, that loss might be even worse, because now every past mistake is being pulled back into the light. Every comment he's ever made, every decision he's taken, is under a microscope. And for someone who built his post-NFL brand on discipline, intelligence, and power moves, that's a brutal reversal. Even people defending him aren't denying he made missteps. The defense now is more about context. Was he reckless, or was he targeted? Was he careless, or caught in a calculated takedown? Either way, one truth is clear. When you're that close to winning, the world doesn't just watch, it waits to see if you'll fall. Shannon Sharpe didn't stumble into media fame. He built it from the ground up. After dominating the NFL, he made one of the smoothest transitions into broadcasting that fans had ever seen. He wasn't just another former athlete with a microphone. He had charisma, insight, strategy, and most importantly, momentum. Club Shay Shay wasn't just a show, it became a platform, a place where cultural icons dropped the filters and told the truth. From legends to viral stars, everyone wanted a seat at Shannon's table. He wasn't chasing trends, he was setting them, and then came the biggest opportunity of his life, a media deal that would have put him in the same lane as the biggest power players in the business. Ownership, executive control, a network built around his voice, his name, his vision. He had just left his contract with Colin Cowherd's network. The timing was perfect. The brand was hot, the money was real, and the next move, historic. But instead of announcing the deal, he woke up to headlines that flipped his entire world upside down. The lawsuit didn't just cost him a contract, it fractured the empire he was about to build. Sponsors hit pause. Partners went silent. The empire turned into a question mark, and when your image is your brand, doubt is a deadly thing. What makes it worse is how quickly it all unraveled. One moment he's being celebrated for reshaping podcast culture. The next, he's trending for all the wrong reasons. The higher you rise, the harder the fall, and Shannon was flying high. That's what stings the most. He was right there, one signature away from rewriting his legacy, from being more than a host, more than a former player, from becoming a full-fledged mogul. But now, that legacy is under fire, and the throne he was about to sit on may be gone for good. So what really happened? Was Shannon Sharpe the victim of a carefully timed takedown, or the architect of his own downfall? There's no denying the lawsuit came at the worst possible moment, just as he was about to level up. Too many pieces lined up too perfectly. The viral Cat Williams interview, the sudden silence from people who used to cheer him on, the power players rumored to be watching from the shadows, even Deion Sanders, someone who's known Shannon for years, says this felt like a trap. Gene Deal echoed it. Stephen A. Smith, once a critic, flipped sides. When voices that loud start whispering about sabotage, you pay attention. But here's the other side. Even if it was a setup, Shannon walked right into it. He's nearly 60 years old. He's lived in the spotlight for decades. He knows how fast things can fall apart, yet he still gave someone access to his world. Someone who, whether by accident or by design, ended up blowing it all up. People aren't just angry about the headlines, they're disappointed by the choices, because when you're that close to greatness, when you're holding the keys to your future, you protect it like your life depends on it. Shannon didn't just fumble the bag, he opened the door, he handed it over, and now, what was supposed to be a celebration has become a cautionary tale. It's possible someone wanted to stop him from winning. It's also possible he made it way too easy, and now, viewers are left with one lingering question. Even if it was a setup, does that really change the outcome?